Hello and welcome to another tutorial from CamiPaige Boutique. I'm Brooke Tannehill and today I'm going to show you how I made this printed vinyl tumbler with glitter, waterfall, and stripes. If you like this tutorial, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see future videos. As always, all the products I use will be listed in the description below, and you may even find a coupon code or two that saves you some coin. Also, come join our exclusive Facebook group where you can take advantage of upcoming freebies and giveaways that you aren't going to want to miss. So without further hesitation, let's go ahead and get started. We are going to be using this super cute Lucky Charms inspired vinyl. So I trimmed it down to size and I wanted it only to be on like the top, probably 2/3 of this cup. Then I'm going to grab my ultimate decal guide and just mark a straight line on the top section. This helps me to get the vinyl lined up perfectly on the cup and keep it as straight as possible as we apply this beautiful printed vinyl. We are going to trim about 1 inch off of that backing and then make sure that the vinyl that's still remaining is good and stuck. And then we are going to line that straight edge up with the line that we drew on the tumbler. And this just makes sure that the vinyl goes on as straight as possible. And you can see it right there. It is perfection. And then I'm going to lift up the vinyl and just push it to where the paper backing is just kind of coming away from the vinyl. Then I use my squeegee and just gently apply it to the cup. And when I do this, it pushes the paper backing off amazingly and then also applies the vinyl to the tumbler. When I come to the seams, I'm just going to grab my craft knife and run down that seam and remove the excess. See how easy that was? You can absolutely rock this. I'm now going to trim the top rim by using the half spacer on the vinyl cutter from CamiPaige Boutique. This is my favorite setting for the top rim just because it leaves just the right amount of stainless steel at the top of the cup. Since we're going to be using metallic glitters, I did not worry about painting the bottom of this cup. I know that's typically a rule that I follow, but the glitter has such amazing coverage that I didn't worry about it. Instead, I just grabbed my glitter glue and I'm focusing on the butt of this tumbler and I'm pulling the glitter glue up the sides so that I can get a really great waterfall cascade effect. The first glitter that we're going to be using is Shamrock Shake. This is a beautiful glitter mix and it's probably my favorite for St. Patrick's Day. And I'm going to focus on the butt of the cup and then just hold the cup down at a 45-degree angle and let the glitter kind of cascade up the sides and just add a little bit of sparkle into that printed vinyl. Now, you do want to make sure that you've got full coverage up to the seam of where that printed vinyl does start because you don't want some wonkiness showing where you're like, hey, why is there a line suddenly in the design of your cup? So make sure that you got full coverage up to that point and then let that glitter start to gradually fade into the printed vinyl. I'm then going to come in with Queen of Green to fill in any little holes that might have occurred from the chunky mix. This is also from Glitter Dip Sips. Then I'm going to roll it on the cardstock to make sure that I'm knocking down any pokey bits. Seal this cup with 2 coats of Rust-Oleum 2X gloss spray paint, and then I'm going to go in with 2 to 3 coats of probably about 30 milliliters for the first coat and then 20 milliliters for the other 2 coats. Let that fully dry and then it's time for sanding. Here I'm using my orbital just to knock down any of the high spots from the chunky glitter, but also just to make sure that I have a nice smooth cup for my next steps of this tumbler. So I'm just using my orbital, rocking the cup back and forth just to make sure that I don't get any flat spots. Then I'm going to come in with my sanding block and just sand the bottom. You do not want to use your orbital for the bottom rims because it will take off all your glitter and you'll just want to cry and it won't be a good day. So just take your time and use your sanding block. This is going to probably require quite a bit of elbow grease just because it is a chunkier mix, but just take your time. It's going to be well worth it in the end, and just keep on sanding until you're happy with it. I washed the cup with Dawn dish soap and water, and then I grabbed my cup cradle from CamiPaige Boutique, and I actually just used the size of it to draw a straight line on this tumbler. What we're gonna do now is apply our stripes. So I cut these at a 1/2 inch tall by 11 inches wide, and I'm going to use this straight line to line up my stripes because I wanna make sure that I'm getting them on the cup as straight as possible. So I'm going to line them up and then remove the backing and then just twirl my cup around, making sure that I'm keeping the stripes as straight as possible. When I come to the end, I'm just going to push down on that seam and then use my craft knife just to cut them off. And what you will notice is I actually filmed this putting the stripes on upside down. It'll be really noticeable when I put the rainbows on, so I actually had to remove the stripes and redo it. But you guys won't know. I'm just admitting it. So I did go back and do that because like, yeah, you can see right there, I'm holding the vinyl upside down. So don't be me, make sure you have the vinyl facing the right direction. But I'm actually going to use my 1/2 inch masking tape to work as a guide between my stripes. So again, I'm gonna line up that edge with the straight line that we put on the cup. And then I'm just going to come around the turner, making sure to get that vinyl as straight as possible, push down on the seam so I can see the line from the vinyl underneath and cut it with my craft knife. And then finally, we're going to use the masking tape one more time, and we're just going to use it as a guide, just like we did with the other stripe, and then just lay this down. And I did use the same piece of masking tape so that I didn't have to waste tape. I kind of feel bad that I go through so much tape, but it's so worth it, I promise. But one more time, we're just going to line this up with that straight line, remove the paper backing, and just give it a twirl around the sun to make sure that we have the vinyl attached. So you guys can totally see how I got this upside down. See that? Yeah. Yep, right there, totally upside down. But at least I caught it and we were good to move forward. Now it's time for pinstriping. So this is Gold Chrome Fantasy Film from Vinyl Fun for Everyone. This is probably the vinyl that I use the most for any of my pinstriping if I'm not using nail tape, just because it is so shiny and it adds just such great detail. But I cut this at a 1/16 of an inch tall by 11 inches wide. That translates to 0.0625 if you're doing the decimal points. But I am just lining these up again with that straight line that we have on the tumbler. You can barely see it, but it's still there. And I am just taking my time and just rolling the cup and letting the vinyl just kind of go on in place. I feel like this is the easiest way than trying to apply it, if that makes sense, like trying to put it down. It's because I just hold it in the same place and turn the cup, and it really helps to keep it straight onto the tumbler. So I'm just going to continue to do this for the other 2 stripes, and you can see just how beautiful this vinyl is and the detail that it adds to this cup. Now, you could definitely do other colors, but I think the gold really helped to like make the vinyl pop. It really just kind of pulled the whole look together. And when we apply our decal, it's gonna make even more sense. So take your time. Don't feel like you just have to get this right the first time. Just if you have to pull it up, you have to pull it up. Nobody's gonna know. It's better to have a amazing looking cup than feel like you have to nail it the first time every time. So take your time. I know that I still struggle with these sometimes, especially if I've had too much coffee and my hands are shaky. But yeah, just push down with the X-Acto knife and you can see that you just get that perfect seam, and then you don't have the gaping like just hole that you sometimes get if you cut it too short. So I really make sure to overlap where, or make sure that the 2 ends of the vinyl are overlapped when I cut the vinyl pinstriping, because otherwise it's gonna show and it's just not cute. Now it's time to apply our decal. Now I cut this at 3.5 inches wide, and this SVG will be available on the CamiPaige Boutique website, but I use a green ultra metallic glitter vinyl from Vinyl Fun for Everyone. And you can see I have a huge problem with static electricity in the winter. So this decided to lay down without my permission. So I did get it off, but I'm gonna show you how I fixed this, because I know we all struggle with it sometimes. You're like, oh my gosh, this is ruined, but it's not. So I'm gonna line them up just like this and make sure that it's going to be the look that I like. And then I'm going to actually recut that 4-leaf clover. So I'm just recutting it like you can see there. I'm gonna use my X-Acto knife and peel up the transfer tape and then just lay it down. So you can see how amazing it goes down and nobody's gonna know. This transfer tape is also from Vinyl Fun for Everyone. It is my absolute favorite, but I'm going to line up this decal. I wanted it to kind of go up a little bit just because you're lucky. So you wanna scream it from the rooftops. And then I'm just going to cut a little slit in the paper behind the decal, because I found that this is the easiest way to apply them and not get any bubbles underneath the vinyl. So I'm just going to find the placement that I liked. I thought it looked really cute over the printed vinyl. So I'm going to stick it down on one side if it just wants to cooperate. And then I'm just going to pull up that seam that we created just like that. It was being a little wonky on me, but then I'm just going to roll it from the center out, and you can see just how wonderfully that vinyl goes onto the cup. And I'm going to do it on the other side, and then there you go. voila. And I love this vinyl. I think it's so pretty. I'm going to seal this with Quick Seal from Artistry Epoxy. You want to do a pretty healthy coat. Let it dry for a good hour to 2 hours. You do not want to go into epoxy before that because it will show. But I'm just going to focus on the stripes first because we do not want this vinyl lifting because it's not a cute look and nobody's going to be happy. But we're just going to apply it over the stripes and then go into the decal. Let this dry for about an hour. Be safe at 2. Then I'm going to actually go in with 3 coats of epoxy for my final coats. And I did about 20 milliliters each time, letting them fully dry in between coats. And then this baby was done. I think that this is my favorite St. Patrick's Day cup I've ever made just because Lucky Charms has a special place in my heart and I just love how colorful it is. I hope this tutorial inspires you and I can't wait to see what you create. If you have any questions about any of the steps or information, please feel free to reach out and I'll be more than happy to help. As always, thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me. If you like this tutorial, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see future videos. You can also ring the bell so you're notified of all future cup making goodies. Thank you again. I love you guys. Ergo Bra. Bye.